faith. Welcome to We're Bulldogs. We are your hosts, Caleb and Caleb. We keep it real simple here. That's what we call Fresno State education. Real simple. This is the weekly podcast, YouTube show. We talk Fresno State athletics. So welcome. Thank you. You can subscribe on YouTube. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below, whatever you're feeling. I don't know. We don't have a question of the day. We didn't talk about it. But as we go through this, comment down below. We go live for the most part every Monday night at 7. I believe we're about 3 minutes late tonight. 4 minutes late tonight. But we're here. You can follow us on X, beware_Bulldogs. You can follow myself, Caleb_Go Dogs, Mr. Pletz over here, CMP Go Dogs. And hop in the chat. Let us know. I see Chris Lake is here. What's going on, Mr. Lake? Good to have you here. Today, we are talking about the Fresno State football schedule. It's official. They released it, so we know when and where we will be playing football this year and who we're playing. We're also going to be talking about the Fresno State Diamond Dogs and their weekend against San Diego State. And we will talk a little bit about basketball because there were 2 games to talk about that we haven't covered. And there's a couple games coming up. So it's March, by the way. Caleb, I don't know if you know this. The ASUN, they started their conference tournament tonight. I think Florida Gulf Coast is playing Queens right now, or did earlier. So,
I am definitely getting in the March Madness mood, or I guess the fever is developing. In the last week, I've been watching like YouTube compilations of greatest comebacks or buzzer beaters and everything. So funny you mentioned Florida Gulf Coast, because they were on a couple of the compilations, and that was wow, I forgot about that team. Yeah, they were. Was it Dunk City or Lob City, something like that? So definitely a fun time for a sports fan, coming in here for March Madness.
Best time of the year. What's going on, Bulldogs Bob? See you in here. As always, Bulldogs Bob wants to get the basketball talk over with, and we're happy to do that. We can do that for you. But first, Caleb, real quick, how was the week, man? We haven't talked in a week. How you been?
Just plugging along here. Not a whole lot to report. Dealing with some rain. It always causes some problems, at least in my line of work. But it's good. Baseball's doing good, which is not surprising. Softball's doing well, which is also not surprising now, based off of, the first month of the season. And basketball's continuing to struggle. So it seems like we're plugging along here at pretty much as expected.
Yeah, I'm excited for bat and ball sports. Really excited. We talked about it last week. So basketball, over this past week, played a ranked Utah State, top 25 in the country. And by the way, if you're just tuning in or you haven't been keeping up with basketball, Enoch Boyachi has been out. He sprained his ankle. Andre has been out. I believe he tore his meniscus. He's done. He had surgery on his knee. Donovan Yap has been out. Lots of injuries, right? So our 2 bigs are out. So Leo Calmero has been playing big. So our 2 starters and our number 6 off the bench are out. We play Utah State really tight. We're up by 3 with 10 or so seconds left, around that. Up by 3, 10 seconds left. Utah State has to inbound the ball, go the length of the floor. All we do is we can't give up a 3-pointer. Well, what happens? We allow them to dribble the length of the floor. We don't foul. They get up. They set a screen. Their big comes up, set a screen at half court. They shoot a contested 3-pointer. He banks it in, tie it up. We go to overtime, lose. 77-73, I believe. Yes, 77-73. It was pretty frustrating. Then I think the best part about this was the press conference after. Our friend Gabe goes and asks some questions with Coach Hutt. And I want to get your reaction, Caleb. I know I sent it to you, so you saw it. But Gabe essentially asked Hutt, like, hey, why is this becoming a common theme since you've been a coach here. We lose close games like this. Was becoming a common thing. Hutt dropped an F-bomb. He said he banked in a 3. What are we supposed? He banked in a 3. He said that he told the team to foul. And I can confirm, Caleb, he did tell the team to foul. He did. Okay. That is truth. He did not lie. He told the team to foul. I believe my source 100%. So that was on the players. But at the same time, there was a caveat in there. And, I think you catch the ball, you foul. You don't catch the ball, foul him. There's nothing in between. Don't let him dribble past half court. Don't let him dribble. Catch, foul. That's a given. But he did tell him to foul. I will say that. So in Hutt's defense. Now, basketball, whatever. Let's go to Nevada. It was bad. But actually, Caleb, I want to get your take on Gabe's question and Hutt's response to the question, because I think we should address both.
I think that both show like the level of agitation that both people have. I would say Gabe like representing Bulldog fans, because we know that he is a fan, which I know as a media he's probably supposed to be a little bit more impartial, but I know that he is frustrated with how this team performs under Coach Hudson. And you can obviously tell Coach Hudson is agitated about how this team is performing under him too. So I definitely, feeling that from both sides, which is refreshing from Gabe's point, because obviously he's very relatable to how us Bulldog fans are feeling about this team. But I mean, Hutt, as the coach, you have to be professional. Even if it's a question that frustrates you, you have to keep it professional. And I'm sure behind closed doors he would probably say, man, I probably shouldn't have said that, but at the same time he probably knows he's on his way out, and why not let it loose and actually say how you feel. So just kind of a funny exchange here, and credit to Gabe for asking a tough question, because we can't let him off the hook. This team is not performing, and they had a chance late to actually win this game. So I know that foul trouble was an issue for the Fresno State Bulldogs, and probably the reason why they lost this game, with Isaiah Hill fouling out early in overtime. So maybe that's why they weren't fouling at the end, just to not foul out. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch the play to see who was actually around the ball. But gotta credit the Utah State for making a bank shot. I guess he just kept repeating that. So tough game, but also that's just kind of how this season is going for the Dogs.
Yes, we lost, but we're also very lucky that they didn't call a foul on Leo when he contested and hit his non-shooting hand. It was clearly a foul, and they didn't call it, and he made it. What's up, Tim? Good to see you. And Chris, you're right. Quincy Pondexter, he's been involved in some things online on X that makes me think that, or I don't even think, I know he wants the job. And I think you just give it to him. That's fine with me. Go for it. All these people that say, oh, he's never had coaching experience. Neither did Hutt. But I'm all about Pondexter, and bring it on. The back to Gabe and Hutt real quick. I do think that, and Gabe's a friend of ours, so I haven't talked to Gabe about this yet, but I did text him. He didn't respond though. I think his juices were still flowing after that. But I think there's a different way that Gabe could have worded it in Hutt's defense. But you're right. Hutt has to be a little more professional. I don't think dropping the F-bomb helps anyone. And then asking Gabe a question, what would you have done? Huh? What would you have done? That doesn't solve anything. I will say, like, Gabe now knows, like, next time coach asks him that, he's going to say, I would have fouled.
Right. Yeah. Having a better comeback would have helped Gabe a little bit.
But yeah, the response from Hutt, it tells you everything. And it's nothing. It doesn't surprise us. We kind of knew. Yeah. Anyways, it's very frustrating. Then the boys, we lost to Nevada 74-66. It wasn't close all game. And Blackshear didn't play this game. I thought maybe we'd play him a little bit tighter. It's coming off the high, but it looked like we were just tired and beat up after Utah State. Next game.
The only thing that really stood out there is Tavares getting a lot of minutes off the bench and the only guy coming in off the bench. So that is something that we've been calling for this whole season. Get a young guy in there. And obviously it seemed like he was playing hard. I mean, I didn't really watch the game, but I guess that's maybe a positive that, okay, at least they're giving the young guy a shot to play.
True. About time. Yeah, Tavares went off that game. He led the team in scoring. It was a lot of fun to watch, but he's the only one that makes anything happen other than Leo's 30-point game, which if Leo can score 30 points in a game, he should be scoring 15 to 20 every night. What is going on here? Then Tavares is the only one attacking the rim, going hard. That's the way we run our offense. It's simple 8th grade offense. All right, next on deck, March 6th. So that's this Wednesday. We play New Mexico in Albuquerque at 7:30 p.m. tip. Oh, my Lord. On FS1. And New Mexico's good. They'll probably be in the dance. Maybe. This conference is either going to have 5 or 6 teams. Maybe. I should say maybe, because a lot of these bubble teams are not doing us any favors, because I should say the favorites are not doing us any favors because they keep losing to these bubble teams. And so teams like Villanova and Butler and things like that, they're, Big East. Oh, man, they might want to get in. We might want to let them in now rather than Mountain West schools. So they're not helping us out. Then the boys play Wyoming, which I think is the last chance where I think we could get a win in this regular season. And then the first round of Mountain West Basketball Championships is March 13th. That's on Wednesday of next week. So in Las Vegas. And I believe we have sealed the 9 seed already. I don't think anyone else has, maybe after this last game on Friday. But I saw we're the only team that has clinched a seed, and that's the 9 seed for us.
I think I saw a tweet over the weekend that it was only us and Wyoming had clinched our finishing spots. So we're going to play Wyoming after playing Wyoming in the first round of the championship, which is pretty crazy and also kind of fun for the conference to actually have these last games be meaningful leading up to, seeding for the conference tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a conference tournament that's watched by the entire nation. So it would be great to get a run. My question to you, Caleb, and I think the entire Red Wave wants to know, if a miracle happens, right, and Fresno State wins Mountain West Championship, does Hutt stay?
Gosh, I hope not. But we did say at the beginning of the season, the only way he keeps his job is if he makes the NCAA tournament. I'm pretty sure that was one of the things we said. So, we are men of our words, so we would have to honor that.
I'm changing. I reserve the right to change my mind. I don't think there's anything that Hutt can do other than win a national championship. I don't think, from what I've heard, him and Toomey don't get along. It's just a work-only relationship. And
if he offered to take a 90% pay cut, do you think they would keep him? No. No.
Because
we know that this program is mostly like it's about the money. Has been talking about Coach Hutt and his contract. So
now the only way we're gonna fix the money problem is if we win and bring in a bunch of people. That means we get a new coach. It's just the reality of it. Tim says the New Mexico game might be like the Warriors Celtics game. I hope not. Are we one and done in Vegas, Caleb? Bulldogs Bob wants to know.
Well, I'm going to say yes, because Wyoming beat us earlier in the year, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're going to have fresh intel from the most recent game against us. So I think that they are probably going to have us scouted well and defended well, and they're going to make it really tough. That being said, Ducell, goes crazy and is 10 for 10 from threes, then I think that's probably our only shot.
Yeah, I actually think we beat Wyoming.
Oh,
I don't think we'll be one and done. I think we will beat Wyoming. Enoch is supposed to be back. Maybe by the tournament, he's supposed to be back. So if his ankle's good, I think we beat them. But gosh, that is a really hard question. I'm not putting any money on it, that's for sure. Just like we said against Utah State, I think we were 9.5 point underdogs or 7. Yeah, we both said why. Well, they knew something we didn't. So
exactly, yeah, that's a good thing that gambling is not, or sports betting is not legal in our state, because I really wanted to bet against the dogs there, and I'm glad I didn't.
Bob says only Jesus himself could coach this team to a Mount West title.
Yes, it would be a miracle.
Yes. That's it with basketball. I don't think there's any more that needs to be said about basketball. I think the only thing that I would be interested in is what's going on behind the scenes with the players. Are they interested in the new coach? Are they just ready to get out of town? What's going to happen to how many players come back? I think that's my next question where I'm at now. That's where I'm at now with the basketball team. So, yeah, that's the only thing I have with basketball. All right, Caleb. The Mountain West released the schedule for the football season. We knew, for the most part, who we were going to play, but now we know when, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We do get Washington State. Well, we'll run through this game by game. So first, let's start off with the big one. Everybody's been talking about it since the end of the bowl game. We've been talking about it. We get Michigan in Ann Arbor at the Big House on August 31st, which is a Saturday. Now, I do believe that they can change the day and the time for the most part, if the TVs want to, TV channels. Is that right?
At least for conference play, yeah. The non-conference games are going to be locked in. But yeah, the 8 conference games are subject to being flexed to a Friday, which is always a bummer.
Yes. Any thoughts on the Michigan game? And we're gonna talk so much about this Michigan game. It's gonna get, I'm sure everyone's gonna get annoyed. But it's football. It's Fresno State football. We live and breathe this stuff. So what are your thoughts right now?
I think the positives are it's the first game of the year. It's a 3-day holiday weekend. So hopefully the Red Wave is able to make a trip of it and make it out there. Not less scouting available for our dogs to hopefully make it a little more difficult on Michigan. And a lot of that's pretty much the whole staff has turned over. A lot of their players are gone. They had 16 players, Michigan did, invited to the NFL Combine. I think they set some sort of record there. So it's lining up. Like we've mentioned, it's lining up that Fresno State will have its best shot at taking them down. So it's going to be a very difficult game. They're still a very good team, but pretty much everything is lined up to be okay for Fresno State to have a shot.
I agree. And players entering the transfer portal. Some of their best players on the defensive side of the ball that were supposed to come back are in the transfer portal now. So then we get Sac State at home. To be honest, Caleb, Sac State's a good squad. Mm-hmm. This is going to be no walk in the park when we get Sacramento State at home. And then we also get New Mexico State at home. We just beat them, and they have a new coach. So I don't think New Mexico State, we should handle both of those teams, but Sac State is probably going to be a tougher test than New Mexico State, in my opinion.
I agree. It's a tough road trip for New Mexico State as well. And like you mentioned, new coach and new quarterback. And I think that they had a couple. Yeah, I know they had a pretty decent lineman that portaled out, I think, to Power 5. So I don't think they're going to be as competitive as they were in the bowl game. And but good to have a couple home games after probably the brutal game that Michigan's going to be, at least physically. So hopefully Dogs are able to recover a little bit before making a return trip to New Mexico. So kind of funny how that schedule lines up with taking on New Mexico State at home and then immediately playing New Mexico. So kind of funny there. But September 21st at New Mexico, opening up conference play.
Yeah, is September 21st is the date currently for the New Mexico game in Albuquerque. Then we go to Vegas, play UNLV the 28th, and then we get our bye. I believe, yes. But just looking at the Mountain West schedule, I think I actually really like playing New Mexico and UNLV first, because these have been the two teams that we always tend to have a hiccup with later on in the season. We struggle with injuries, and then we play these two squads and something comes up. Let's just beat them early. Go into Mountain West play, beat them. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Maybe I'm looking into it too much.
Yeah, I agree. I expect UNLV to be a really tough team this year. I know that their coach Barry Odom was in the mix for some other Power 5 jobs, and he's still there at UNLV. So I would expect them to be competitive like they were this year. So I agree. Get it out of the way early, and should be a very competitive game. And I'm sure there'll be a good contingent of Red Waivers make the trip to Vegas for a weekend visit to the Rebels.
And then after that bye, which I really like, we get to play Wazoo, Washington State in Fresno. Josh Kelly, I believe, transferred, so he's not there. Cam Ward, did he transfer or did he go to the draft?
He transferred to Miami, I believe. Okay.
So their starting quarterback and I'm going to say number one wide receiver are gone. Their last time we played them was in the LA Bowl with Jake Hayner and those guys, and we put a beat down on them. They're going to want revenge, in my opinion, but it's a lot of fun. We get to see the two schools from the Pac-12 duke it out with us all season, and then we get to have one in our stadium, which I'm really excited for. I would have rather have played Oregon State because I want to get that one back, but I'll take the Washington State one.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for this, and definitely a winnable game for Fresno State. Having the home field advantage, we don't really know what's going to be of Washington State this year, and I'm sure that their players don't even know what it's going to be. They're conference-less, and I have to imagine that most schools are negatively recruiting against Washington State. So it's probably going to be tough to retain the talent that they maybe had or keep replenishing after what's happened. So again, a good position for Fresno State to have a quality win on the schedule, and kind of tying this into the 12-team playoff that's coming this year in 2024. The Dogs need to have resume wins. And so getting a win against Washington State will definitely help if it comes down to maybe 2 11-1 teams or 11-2 teams at the end of the year with another G5 conference. We need to have that resume out there to try to get that, highest qualifying bid. So yeah, definitely important and should hopefully be a good thing for Fresno State.
I agree. We're going to have to play well. And this schedule, I think it can do it. We then go to Reno, play the Wolfpack. Then we get San Jose State at home, which is nice. Then we get Hawaii at home, which is huge. We don't have to go to Hawaii. And then the last two Mountain West games are Air Force and Colorado State. Air Force is at the Academy. We go to Colorado, and then Colorado State is at home. we don't get to see these two teams often on our schedule. I'm really excited. Air Force, I saw it in the chat. I'll have to get there, but I think it was Bob mentioned he's glad to play Air Force later when they will more than likely be beaten up. Yeah, I see it. So what are your thoughts on, finally getting our shot at Air Force and Colorado State in the regular season?
Yeah, well, and sandwiched between there is another bye week, which is important. So I would have much rather had the bye week before the Air Force game just to give the Fresno State defense an extra week to prepare for their unique offense. But yeah, that's a good point from Bob. I hadn't really thought about that. That typically in the later part of the season, Air Force does tend to get nicked up just based on how physical they play. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. My only concern there is, the possibility of snow or just a crazy windy game, in Colorado. So sometimes the Dogs just have a difficult time handling that. But
especially
I don't
run.
Exactly, yeah. But getting Colorado State at home is also a welcome change. It seems like it's been 10 years since Fresno State has taken on Colorado State. So good to kind of get a new opponent in here. That being said, the Fresno State doesn't play San Diego State, which is a big bummer. And they also don't play Boise, which some would say that's a good thing because they're just always a thorn in our side. But just for our rivals, those are two games that we love to see on the schedule. So kind of difficult balance there with mixing in some new teams on the schedule, but not getting a chance to face off against the Aztecs or the Broncos.
I agree, man, 100%. And in the day and age of money in college football, you'd think the conference would have us play Boise all the time. The two biggest fan bases, I would assume the biggest fan bases or most eyes on the television, we should be playing all the time. Oh well. Can't lose to them. So I guess that's the positive. But we also can't beat them. So there's a negative. But we finished the season, and this is odd because we usually finish the season with a Mountain West team, either like a San Diego State or San Jose State rivalry game. Well, it is a rivalry game. We're going to the Rose Bowl again, and we're going to play UCLA November 30th. They have a new coach. They like their new coach there. There's a lot going on at UCLA that's new. And the other thing that's new is that they're in the Big Ten. They're not a Pac-12 team. So we get a Big Ten opponent in LA. I think the Red Wave is going to be really excited for this game. Depending on how the season plays out, I think the Rose Bowl could be packed with red. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, this is Fresno State defending their home turf. When the Dogs have beaten UCLA 4 times in a row, I believe it is. I mean, at this point, Fresno State owns the Rose Bowl from UCLA. So I would expect Fresno State to really compete here. But like you said, our team could be banged up at the end of the year. So it could be a battle. A lot of question marks with UCLA. And so I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of developments over the summer too. And, there's still the spring portal to open up and see maybe who they're able to bring in to help. They lost their number 1 quarterback prospect to Oregon. That's a transfer. I think he was a 5-star kid. So definitely a lot changing there, but great opportunity for Fresno State. And I believe that meant that UCLA is coming to Bullock Stadium here somewhere in the future, but that might change with scheduling.
They better. It's about time. They've been so scared of us. All right, let's get to the Red Wave. Bulldogs Bob. Michigan has a history of overlooking their first week foes, App State, and they play Texas after us with a new coach and a lot of new starters. Stranger things have happened. True. Tim says 9 a.m. Pacific kickoff against Michigan. Is that true? I didn't know. I would assume. Last time we played a Big Ten school, that was the case.
Yep.
Sac State will be hyped to play us. I totally agree. I think they're going to be really tough. And happy you're not playing on the island this year. Yes. And Chris says, too bad Josh Kelly won't be there. I agree. I want to beat those. I want to beat Josh. Tim agrees with you, Caleb. Air Force is a trap game, winter and windy.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, we talked about Air Force. It is, it's nicer playing them later in the season, more likely to be banged up. But yeah, when you look at this schedule, I think Air Force stands out as the trap game. I also think that San Jose State could be a trap game, but they're not.
They also have a new coaching staff and new quarterback. So, I mean, we should probably count on here. I mean, how many new head coaches are the Dogs facing? I mean, Michigan, New Mexico State. Did Nevada fire their coach?
I think so. I think they did.
I can't remember. I mean, there's at least 4 or 5 new head coaches that the Dogs are taking on, which I think was a theme from last year too. So, very funny, but that also just shows kind of the nature of college football now. I mean, even with players, they're, staying at places shorter durations, and same with coaches. They're eager to get a bigger, better job.
Tim says Fresno UCLA is the Beware Bulldogs Big Blast tailgate game. We better start preparing right now. And he says UCLA is going to be a home game. If we're healthy, we will beat up the Bruins for the 5th straight time. We've beaten up from playing the Big Ten. That's true. And they play USC the week before. No way they get up for us. I agree, Bob. That's a good point. Chris says good game at the end of the year for Fresno. All depends on how the season is going for UCLA, or depends on how the season for UCLA ends. If they're not bowl eligible, probably won't be too fired up. Yeah, there you go.
True.
Bob reminds me, San Jose State in no way is going to be a trap game. Our boys will want revenge for last year.
I sure hope so. That was a very disappointing game. And I'm sure the coaching staff is going to remind our players about how poor they performed.
Yeah. And Kevin says, I think Air Force is good enough to not be considered a trap game. That is also true. They have played well enough the past couple years to, be a formidable threat and, not be a trap game. So, okay, you're going to have to, I guess I'm going to have to go look for a new one. And as, it's even tough now, though, to look at. For the most part, teams are put together. Not really though, because you still got guys in the transfer portal. Who knows who leaves our team, what happened, who joins our team. There's a lot that is still going to happen. So, it's hard to make a decision right now looking at the schedule. But I think it's a lot of fun to talk about, have conversations with the Red Wave and what they think, and we get to plan out our trips and. I think it's a good time. Overall, Caleb, looking at this schedule, I just want you to focus on Mountain West right now. Oh, big picture. What's your thought about our schedule and our Mountain West opponents?
Well, I think Fresno State should be competing for a conference championship. I see the Dogs that have, at worst, should be 6-2 in conference, and hopefully closer to 8-0. But with what this team has coming back, the uncertainty in the conference, and I do think that this schedule is favorable for the Dogs, that this definitely should be a 6-2 at least, and hopefully better.
Yeah, who are the 2 losses in your opinion? I mean, that's the floor, right?
That is the floor. I'm concerned about at Air Force for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think even though Hawaii is at home, just weird stuff can happen against Hawaii. So I would probably pick a game like Hawaii that the Dogs should win. They'll probably be favored by 10 points, and they might find a way to squander it away. So those would probably be the early 2 that would be my concern.
Just looking at, for me, I'm thinking UNLV and Air Force are toughest matchups right now. Who knows about Colorado State? Mm-hmm. I think they lost some of their good players, but Mountain West, this schedule sets us up to be very competitive in the Mountain West, and there's no reason that we should not be competing for a Mountain West championship at the end of the season. I think this is a very doable schedule for us. And I really enjoy our non-conference games, the big schools, Michigan and UCLA, and then a really good FCS school in Sacramento State, and then New Mexico State, who, that's right. But I mean, we play them. We played them. We have history with them, so that's fine. It's better than a Kent State, in my opinion.
Right.
So I like this schedule. I like the schools we play, and I think our boys can do some damage in the polls too, and compete for not only a Mountain West championship, but have the opportunity to get that first G5 auto bid in the playoff, which would be unbelievable. And you can bet that we're going to be recording live from the playoffs if we make it that far.
Absolutely. So I think the only question I have for football right now is when's the spring game going to be? Because I know that a handful of schools have put that out, put it on the calendar, but I haven't seen anything about when the spring game or spring showcase is going to be. So I know spring practice has got to be starting here soon. I don't think they've started yet, but that's obviously next on the calendar to watch out for.
I have no idea, but I know that whenever we talk about it, we're supposed to call it the spring preview, but I don't even think we should be allowed to call it the spring preview. I think it needs to be called the blazing hot summer sweat. I mean, it's every year it's 1,000 degrees and it's just awful. But I agree. I'm ready for a release date for the spring game, and they usually pair it with a Fresno State game, baseball game, I should say. So I'm sure they'll do that. I would be shocked if they didn't. It's usually a great event, and both are packed, and it does a great job of getting people out to baseball games too. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason that our baseball team should not be heavily supported this year. Speaking of baseball, we should jump into baseball right now. The Dogs over the weekend played San Diego State. They had the whole week off. There was no midweek game after Fullerton. They played San Diego State Friday, and then did they play doubleheader Sunday? It pushed Correct. Back for rain, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first on Friday, they won 12-6. Then Sunday, earlier part of the day, they lost 1-7. And then the third game, we actually mercy ruled them in 8, and we won 11-1. What are your thoughts, Caleb, on the showing from this baseball team over the weekend?
Well, Friday night, another strong performance from Jake Dixon. 6 strong innings, gave up 1 run. The bullpen kind of faltered in the middle there, kind of giving up 5 runs after he had exited. But thankfully, Fresno State bats were alive early. They chased the starter out in the second inning. 7 runs in the second inning. That's a huge offensive performance, and definitely gave Dixon a comfortable cushion there to be able to pitch with confidence. So back-to-back really strong performances from Dixon, which is great, and exactly what a Friday night guy needs to be, and a guy that you can count on to go out there and give you a solid start every time. First game on Sunday was really disappointing. The bats were nowhere to be found. Granted, San Diego State pitcher threw a complete game, 1 hitter, and he was looking really good. Kind of surprising though. He wasn't overwhelming with his speed, or his stuff was decent, but I wasn't shocked at wow, this guy is just blowing us away. So Noah Beal didn't have his best stuff. He got hit around a lot. Gave up 11 hits in 4 innings. So I'd say that the bright point of the second game of the series was Jake Riding out of the bullpen. 5 innings he pitched in relief, only gave up a run, struck out 4, only walked 1. So I think that he should be considered for a starting spot, just because this isn't the first time he has had a solid long relief outing. I think he's made 3 other appearances on the year, and he's thrown at least 3 innings each time and has been really good. So Beal has been a little bit shaky on the Saturday game. I think that there's still some stuff that he can work through with the coaching staff. So I'm definitely not trying to push him off his starting rotation, but I think that Jake Riding is making a case for getting a shot to be a starter. So was really the only bright spot from that game. And then game 2 on Sunday, another offensive explosion from the Dogs. So Jack Anchor, he's a stud. 3-0 through 7 innings, or did he throw 8? Hang on. 7 innings. Only gave up 1 run, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, and his stuff is electric. He's a fiery personality on the mound, which is good. I mean, he's firing up his defense and just a really strong offensive performance. The Dogs definitely woke up in the second game of the doubleheader. So really strong overall.
Player of the week.
He did, yeah. So player of the week. He was pitcher of the week, and Eddie Saldivar won player of the week. So he had a really good weekend. I think he hit 500 overall and was making some really great defensive plays. So definitely solidifying himself as one of the leaders on this team as a newcomer. So really strong performance from Saldivar and Anchor.
Yeah, Saldivar, by the way, Sound King Memorial kid. So that was big. He did hit his first homer as a Bulldog, I believe, on Sunday. What's his second game stats? He went 2 for 3. He had a home run and a double, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. Yeah, he was crazy. Jack Anchor, I love watching that guy pitch, man. I mean, he went 7 innings through 87 pitches. I think he had 8 strikeouts, no walks, 1 earned. This team is so much fun to watch. And I encourage you, if you're not a baseball guy and you're from Fresno, go watch this team. It is so fun. Let's get to the Red Wave, see what you guys have to say. Chris says Overland's doing a great job so far. I agree. I mean, you couldn't have a better start to a coaching career, in my opinion. I mean, we've dropped, I think, the way Ovi is and the way coaches are, he would say, it's not good enough. We've dropped 1 in each series. I want to win all of them. Understandable. I want them to as well. But they've looked good. Bob said he had way more fun at Friday's game against San Diego State than watching the Nevada game, or than he would have. I agree. Don't put yourself through that. Kevin says Dogs baseball is going to be fun. I don't think we have any glaring weaknesses. I agree. If Noah is on and our bullpen, as Bulldogs Bob says, our bullpen depth needs to improve. I think that's really the only thing. But granted, in our loss, we didn't hit well, and that's supposed to be our strength. So hard to win a game when you score 1 run. But one thing we need to know: this team so far is undefeated after a loss. They bounced back after a bad loss, a dominating win that left no doubt who was the better team. I agree. Most of the stars on this team are all local guys. Embrace this team, Red Wave. Thank you, Bob. Yes, it is. Well, like I said, get out there, cheer them on. And I think that spring game during a baseball game is really going to help. But by that time, it may be too late. If you are listening, go check them out. They're very good. It's a lot of fun. Next up for the baseball program. Oh gosh, sorry, I had a box score up. Pacific, March 5th. That's this Tuesday. That's a Tuesday night game, 6:00 at Pete Biden Field. So make sure you head over there. 6:05 first pitch. Then Thursday and Friday, we have UC Irvine coming to town. And then Saturday and Sunday, we have Columbia here. So, I mean, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's baseball. If you can find
and that matchup against UC Irvine, they're undefeated and nationally ranked. So that's a huge opponent coming to town. So hopefully we're able to get a good crowd out there to make a difference, because it's been really good showing so far at Biden Field. And I do think that it makes a difference when an opposing team, if they aren't used to having that many fans. I can't imagine Columbia has a big baseball following. No offense to them, but that has to make a difference when there's actually a crowd cheering against you. So hopefully we're able to get a good showing out there.
We should. It's going to be a blast. By the way, all those games, well, other than the Saturday, Sunday game, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, first pitch is at 6:05. And then the Columbia games are at 1:00, 1:05. And all of them can be found on Mount West Network on TV, or you can listen to Paul and whoever's doing color. I think it's usually Steve. Is Steve Hosey still doing it?
Yeah, Hosey and Brian Marsubian are kind of rotating, at least on the weekend side. I don't think there's radio on Saturday because Paul's doing basketball. But
correct.
Other than that, yes, there has been. And yeah, I really enjoy hearing their simulcast on the Mountain West Network when they have those linked up, because there is good commentary from Hosey and Marsubian. And so one thing I did want to mention that they were pointing out about Murph Gray and kind of his development as a player was, he's getting RBIs by hitting singles and not mashing home runs, which I think is good for the long run, because the home runs come and go, but I mean the singles are where he needs to be making his living. So that was something that they pointed out on the broadcast.
Mm-hmm. This team is exciting. Make sure you get out there and check them out. We usually check in on water polo and a couple other sports. Water polo had the week off, so they did not have any games. Over the weekend, softball did play. They, I believe, played 4 games, and they went 3-1 in the 2024 Judy Garmin. They beat Weber State 7-0, Long Beach State 8-2, DePaul 5-3. Then they did drop one to Fullerton 0-2. But huge weekend for softball. I mean, they were on a huge win streak. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9-game win streak. They were on a 9-game win streak before they lost to Fullerton. This team is playing well. They have the 2024 Bulldog Classic coming up this Friday against first games against Northridge at 5:30, and then they play 2 games against San Diego on the 9th and the 10th, and then on Monday the 11th they play Rutgers. I haven't seen Rutgers come to Fresno in a while.
That's a long play.
In overtime, yeah. I remember that game though. That was a good game on the football field. All right, yeah. So the softball team's looking great. There's so many good things happening on the Diamonds. I can't stress enough. Go check out these teams. A lot of fun. Let's check out what the Red Wave is saying. Let's see. Chris says the bullpen will make or break this team. Chris said that. Bulldogs Bob says, I'm planning on going to at least 1 game against Irvine. We need to sell those 2 games out. I agree. Softball team has been playing great, too. They're 7-1 over the last 2 weekends. Huge. And Kevin says, nice call, Bob. Softball on a tear. That's the softball games, I should say, are they on the Mountain West Network? I believe they are.
I believe so.
Yeah. So you can check them out too on the Mountain West Network. It's an app. You can just download it. You can, if you have Roku TV like I do, I just put it on the Roku TV and put it on. All right, Caleb, anything else that you would like to talk about when it comes to Fresno State athletics?
Well, I think we just about covered it this week. I don't think I have anything else to add, just that I'm glad that the weather's getting a little warmer. I know we're getting up into the higher 60s this week, which is good, and sunshine should be mostly here, so don't have to worry about any games this weekend getting washed out.
I hope not. Man, well, I agree. This time of the year is great. It's been a lot of fun. I actually had to take off my jacket while going for a walk today. It was great. It's baseball season, baby, and the trees are blooming. And hopefully almond prices go back up, but we'll see. Let us know on X, if you're on X, or on YouTube. If you have any ideas for us, we'd love to talk. Also, I haven't shouted some people that support us in a while. Big shout out to Manage X. Caleb, he knows them personally, and they're big supporters here. So check out Manage X. What do they do again, Caleb? Tell me, you're a pro at what?
Yeah. So ManageX is the property manager in Fresno Clovis area. They service single-family homes, small multifamily, and office and industrial properties. So if you're a property owner here in the Fresno area and you need some help, go ahead and give them a call, and or just check them out on their website, managex.net.
And a big shout out to Givali Winery or Zavelli Winery. Well, I was there this past weekend. Sunday fun day over at Givali Winery. It was fun. We had a good time. How's the raisin price, Tim? Let's just say there may not be raisins in the future in Fresno. It's It's not good.
So if raisins are bad and almonds are bad, what's left to make any money on? Here's our segment on farms.
I mean, I guess pistachios are all right. We should talk to the Delana family. They probably have a better idea than I do. They're way better farmers than we are. It's so bad, actually. Little life update for everyone. I'm not even on the farm anymore. I'm in the insurance world now. That's how bad it is. So I'm learning about insurance now, and I'll be hitting up all of you when I get my license to sell. So, yeah, I don't. It's farming prices are no good, and prices are going up in everywhere except for people's jobs. They don't minimum wage or whatever. People aren't making any more money while as prices go up. That's just how it is, and the same in the farming world. So that's the short of it. I don't want to go into it too much, but yeah.
All right. And on the topic of politics, we got an election tomorrow, so we have some we have some support for Measure E in the chat. So definitely will be consequential for Fresno State athletics of whether they have that funding available for stadium and facility renovation, and if not, our friend Jackson Morris said that there is a backup plan, but they haven't released what it is. So for right now, Plan A is Measure E. So hopefully, for the athletic department's sake, that passes. I know it was kind of close last time it was on the ballot, so we'll see.
Backup plan is call Aaron Judge, hit up the Cars for even more. I know Cars donated to the collective, I believe. Mm-hmm. But anyways. Yeah, Measure E is coming up. Well, is that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Or I guess when people listen tomorrow, it'll be today. So reminder to do your civic duty and go vote, whatever you want to vote for. So thank you guys for participating and supporting us. We really appreciate it. You make my Monday nights. You guys in the chat, and Caleb, you too. I make my Monday nights a lot of fun. I appreciate it. And we'll be back next week to update on the big weekend for baseball. A lot going on. So make sure you get out to support them and softball. And hopefully the Bulldogs basketball team can get a win? ? I don't know. So thank you, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a wonderful week. God bless. And as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.